Well, I think that relates to my first question, actually. You know, for those of you who don't know, Guy and I studied together in Guyz. The Kunstuni Guyz, what a lovely time. For me, I was discovering a lot of music and meeting all these people from all over the world. It was a really important time for me.
Yeah, exciting times, I would say.
Yeah. But now, since then, during the COVID years, you left Guyz.
Yes.
And then you decided to actually start a career. You took did a training and you took a job, and now you're still working on it in this internet security program.
Yeah, cloud security
company. Which, I mean, I really admire this. I think this is, first of all, super cool. Second of all, to work full time and still produce art is a challenge. So my first question to you is, I don't know, how is it balancing a career and artistic activities?
So I would say that it's easier than it might seem. I mean, we should put a caveat to that, because I'm not in a relationship, right? And I don't have any big debts, right? I don't have a mortgage, and I don't own a car. I live alone in Tel Aviv in a small apartment, so I don't have a lot of expenses. I do have a full-time job, but this job pays really well. And what I discovered personally for myself, that when I know that financially I'm set, I don't need to worry about financial things. I have a retirement plan, and I have and I earn way more than I spend monthly. So once I have this basically financial calm, that I know that I don't need to stress about my expenses, this frees a lot of storage room in my mind, and it gives me basically the time and the ease to actually think about ideas. For example, I'm writing a book now, which is a thing that I wanted to do for a long time. And I didn't have the mental capacity for that, even when I was doing music full time, because it was so stressful. So I would say it is easy to do this balance if you're in the right mindset. But again, I don't have kids. I'm not married. I don't pay mortgage. So under other circumstances, this might be harder to balance.
Sure. But I mean, what you say is super relatable for me, at least. And I think it's super valid that security is security. And okay, maybe, the bohemian life is romanticized. I'm poor and addicted to opium and living in Paris. Hector Berlioz. This archetype of the artist figure from the romantic time. It sounds super unsustainable. I don't know. How can people create in this? I mean, okay, maybe they, some people don't have
these
a choice,
artists were suffering, and they were trying to get out of the cycle. You read their diaries, and you hear stories from their friends. It's very clear that they, for example, Van Gogh, everyone romanticizes him being crazy, and it's because he was so crazy, he created these insane artworks, and it's no, he tried to medicate, and he tried to actually save himself, and he couldn't, and this was a very tragic story, and we shouldn't romanticize that. We should try to strive for normal life along being creative, because I think this will also help other people who are not in the directly in the creative arts see that you can be creative while having mundane life. And I think this is one of the problems of 21st century society. People believe that they can't be creative. Creativity is for the artists, and I have a normal wage job, and I don't need to be creative. Other people think of creative things for me, and no, the only way for society to move forward would be for more people to be creative and to understand that creativity is not a gift from God. It's everyone could be creative if they take enough time to actually think about things.
Yeah, I agree with this. I think it's also, I mean, just personally, it's important to be pragmatic, of course. You have to sustain yourself to make things. But maybe it's kind of also important for people who are not so involved in creative arts to say, okay, there are these other people doing this creative stuff, but they're not like crazy hippies living in a dungeon, waking up at 4 p.m., taking a shot of heroin to the face and then doing their art. I can't relate to this, but say like, hey, these are normal people. Okay, they might have a bit of like a wonky lifestyle, but I should really take seriously this content and not keep it at a, it's I feel like the difference in lifestyle can also almost be used as an excuse to keep it at a distance.
Yeah.
And I feel like this is kind of similar, like, okay, I can't create because like I have a job, I got to like feed my family. I'm not like these crazy hippie types, artist types. No offense to the hippies. I think a very important cultural movement, but easy example. But you know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like maybe also I would say the problem with society, one of the main challenges is this idea of like kind of the spheres that are so separated in society that they don't seem to communicate with each other even.
The classic example is like we share like around 90% of our DNA, right? Like our biological material is like almost the same. So like to think we can't communicate with each other is like, it's insane to me. And like, if you believe that you can't communicate with someone because of their like lifestyle or because of their political beliefs or whatever, like there's something wrong with you and not with them. My point of view.
Yeah, that's interesting. My opinion has always kind of been like the people who aren't willing to really like take a bit of an effort in, I don't know, communication process, in understanding, in looking at art. I think these things are very much tied together. I find it a bit disappointing. And I think it is a conscious effort that if you're confronted with something that's super different from your experience, be it an aesthetic object or someone who's leading a lifestyle or has cultural norms that are so different from you, I think you got to make that extra effort to like kind of see it from their perspective and try to reach them in the communication process.
Yeah.
And this is where I think mass media is very dangerous because it makes us so used to particular types of communication processes that it a bit you a bit forget that these are very much artificial ways of communicating.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, we talked about it yesterday evening. Like, the reason I'm doing this podcast is because one of the reasons I'm doing this is because, like, we, the artists, we're so good with media, but we have so little power in media. Mm-hmm. And we should find ways to empower ourselves in media because this is like the current situation is ridiculous. That like like these elites just control the media and they control the narrative, and people are buying into this narrative because there is no alternative. Mm-hmm. And we should give people this alternative. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this very much reminds me of like the idea of free radio stations from the mid 20th century. I mean, I don't know so much about this topic, but I was reading a while back some Umberto Eco advice on how to write a thesis.
Cool.
And he's a great writer, of course. Yeah. But his example is like, say you're doing a research project on free radio stations in around Rome from the years 1967 to 1973. And of course, I mean, it's very like didactic and for this research purpose, but he actually does also a very good job of teaching you or telling you a lot about what these free radio stations are. There's examples. And I quite like this idea that it's, not from the government, not for commercial purposes, but in that sense, free, independent, and also with entertainment programming, but also with political messages or discourse and things. It's important. It's important.
Yep.